And we're live.
And we're back. That's
back.
it. Yeah, you start saying, and we're back.
We're back, baby.
You are looking live at the Rose Bowl from Pasadena, California. Did you ever know that whenever he would say that, was that Musburger? He would always talk about the temperature.
Yeah, Brent Musburger.
Yeah. And he'd talk about the wind too. And it was because he was a raging gambler.
Oh.
And he was like, so, just you guys out in the sports books getting your last bets in here. You're looking live. It's 70 degrees with no wind.
A slight breeze from the east, 7 miles an hour currently.
Yeah.
Gusting perhaps later.
Yeah. Don't count on these conditions to hold. Yeah, I mean, we're all warmed up from before, man. You ready to do a damn show?
Let's do it.
I don't know if this is a bold statement, but it's a statement I feel like making.
Okay.
It's not like last week where I want to, recommend everybody change.
Hey, you okay? Yeah, just leave.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, hey now.
I wasn't supposed to start yet. Let me pause this.
Okay.
Apparently I'll have some editing.
Really doesn't want to pause.
You know what? I got this new feature that I like using, and there's just
dude.
Okay, I forgot the video's live, so let's act a little professional.
Okay,
it's gonna have to be good enough. Okay,
got it.
I don't want to be sharing yet. No. It's okay. It's like when everybody says on an airplane, you can have turbulence because you have 50,000 feet to fall.
Yeah, there's plenty of space.
We're still good. We're still good.
We're still in the air.
We're getting there. Okay, watch the terrain pull up. So I feel like this is a bold statement, but I think you're gonna agree with me by the end. I'm gonna start off with something that's gonna grab you, a little clickbaity, but I mean it.
Okay, all right.
I understand self-hating Jews.
Okay.
Should I not say that? Do I not say? Do I? Alan said
not see.
No, not say. Do you get like? Is it wrong to say that? Can I not say that?
I think you can say that. I think it's. I mean, it is a well-known sort of. Yeah, I think you're okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because here's my reasoning why. I don't know if I'm an atheist.
Okay.
And I just said that I don't know that I'm an atheist. And I know the real reason why I just said I don't know that I'm an atheist is because I don't think I want to say that I'm an atheist. And that sounds like the exact same thing to me.
It just feels wrong based on all your prior programming.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And, preference, that's why there's room for spirituality in my own personal.
It's funny when I was up in Washington.
Abuse.
When I was up in Washington, one of those late nights we were up after poker.
Did you solve the religion thing? Because sometimes it feels like you're gonna,
We did get into a conversation, and I was like, I am an atheist. I'm not a militant atheist, and I don't care if you're not. If you believe in God, I'm totally fine with that.
No, I like talking to people.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with religious people. I don't have any issue with that, as long as they're not.
Some of my best friends are religious.
As long as they're not.
I had religious friends growing up.
As long as they're not wearing suicide vests and bombing buildings, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you deserve a medal. That was perfect.
But it was funny because my dad sort of had a similar reaction to you, where he's like, "Yeah, I kind of put myself in the agnostic place,
It's better. There's room, right?
There's room.
It's like, how the fuck? My whole thing is okay. So my logic, and you can say it's not logic. I don't care.
It's fine.
It read them Bibles, grew up in that.
Sure.
You're telling me that God made me in his image. But he included this little thing where it's like, you're going to want to know whether this is real or not. And the thing that's important to me is that you just believe me. But by the way, remember earlier in the book, I wanted you just you to be this way. It's like you wanted me to want to know and
be curious and to
yeah. And then you kind of get a little older and learn that the whole or else part of that exchange is all made up by the Catholics. Sure. There wasn't really a hell when they were talking about God wanting you to love him. Oh, well, that seems a lot more palatable, tell me or else I'm gonna die, or when I die I go to hell. It's like, I don't think you would intentionally create me like that. And then
That
it's like, well, then I don't know if I believe this. And then I'm left with I don't know. Not I'm certain. Like
sure.
I would feel just as wrong saying I'm certain there is no God as I am saying as I would feel saying that there is one.
There's a brilliant quote from I'm blanking on his name right now. British actor, Shakespearean. Sometimes you would know
Patrick
immediately.
Stewart,
No, you would know immediately.
number two.
Bigger dude, tall and kind of bigger build. Um, anyways, he has a quote.
Winston Churchill.
No,
We will
not that
protect him
old.
on the
He's
beaches.
he's currently alive. He has a quote where the interviewer
And
asked him, "What would you if you died today and it turns out heaven's real and you have to talk to God? What would you say?" And he has this whole rant about, you know, why are kids dying? Why is there
mm,
war? Why is all this
are you
stuff?
sure this wasn't Christopher Hitchens? Like,
No, it's not Hitchens, but it was a guy also gay, also British.
feels like you're talking about Christopher
It's not
Hitchens.
Hitchens. It's
Okay. Do
and
you
he's
have
big.
thoughts about picnics?
No, or
Yeah,
champagne, lobster, and anal sex.
yes,
The
exactly.
worst. Yeah, yeah.
Three overrated things according
Yes.
to Christopher Hitchens, who preferred at least one of those from what we know, like or not. You think I went his whole life with blowjobs? He's like, I
I
don't like
mean,
anal.
you know,
You know what? That's something he would totally be like, you're gonna, oh my God, yes.
he would be fine with that.
Yeah. All right, you know what? I can't think of a better way to lead into our opening clip.
Hey, you
Awesome.
okay? Yeah, just lately I haven't been able to think straight. Balls. Two guys holding hands. Dudes, butts. Clay Aiken. Wiener. Hey, you okay? Yeah, just lately I haven't
Why is it playing? It's quiet. I hit the button just in time, too. Stupid.
Y'all let me in this damn house.
Should we hit record?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
All right, you ready?
I am ready. Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No offense taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken.
Ask your mama, she'll say the same thing. I got all the ways, I just ain't got the means. Boom.
To the Friday Headlines Roundup edition of None Taken. Every week, my good friend Alan brings me a list of headlines, and I promise not to look at them until we're on the air. Then we take turns talking them at you. Because I listen to 13 hours of podcast a day, and Alan watches 3 hours of cable news. So you don't have to. And now, get ready to take a sledgehammer to the culture war echo chambers.
So, another Friday is upon us. What'll you be doing, Smithers? Something gay, no doubt. What? You know, lighthearted, fancy-free. Mothers, lock up your daughters. Smithers is on the town.
Exactly, sir.
Exactly, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thems and theys, welcome to the show. We are here, right on the shores of the mighty Berlin, and all the way to San Francisco. We're here. Hey, head on over to nonetakenpod.com. Got it.
Yep.
If I can remember that, you can remember that. Or the other way around. If you guys can remember that, I should be able to remember that. That's what I meant to say. Head on over there. I'm going to curveball Alan. Which way am I going? Which way am I going? Head over to our merch tab. If you go into our merch tab, you could get some of our classic items. Like we love to talk about Aussies on the show. And I think if you like us, you like Aussies too. We talked about that a bit in the hidden track earlier. Yeah, if let's celebrate the Aussie in your life or your inner Aussie. Treat yourself to we say cunt in this house mug. Let all your visitors know right across the cup of coffee. Don't say nothing. Just pour the coffee, then drink and let them point it out. Logo's on the side facing you, so you can turn it back around and be like, oh, I'm sorry. Switch sides. You should listen to None Taken, a podcast about comedy and politics. There's other things to do over at nonetakenpod.com. Alan will tell you about that.
Absolutely. You can join our Patreon over there. Just click the tab. You get our secret hidden tracks before every episode. We record you, 20, 30, 40-minute segment that's only available to Patreon listeners. We also have unedited full video, so you can see all the times we fuck up on the show that don't get edited out over there. Good times over there. Also, if you join at the Culture Warrior level, $18 a month, Dustin will send you a Culture War veteran shirt. You do have to DM him. It doesn't happen automatically, but yeah, you get that cool shirt.
Look at my shirt drawer.
It's actually very neat and organized.
Thank
I'm
you.
impressed. I'm
Yeah.
impressed. Yeah, happy
I
Friday.
do a retail fold. You do a little quick fold on the
Yep.
bottom, fold that up to the collar, fold the sides in, and then fold that up again.
I do the
It's like,
exact
why
same.
would you fold it in? Do you want a crease down the middle of your shirt,
No.
you fucking animal?
I do the exact same.
Yeah.
Exact same. So welcome to the show, everybody. Happy Friday. The weekend is here. Have a can of beer.
Got a Founders
Let's go.
Centennial.
Oh, nice.
They come in a
Amazing.
15 packs and they're affordably priced. And then I found out they're 7.2. So fuck me. Let's go.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Party.
Hell yeah. I was
Memorial Day
thinking a bunch-
weekend, dog. You doing anything?
Dude. You know what? I was gonna reach out to Tim, see if he's doing anything, or and maybe Craig, see what he's up to. I don't have any plans yet, but I was thinking I got a barbecue.
You know what? I got so many things I want to do, and apparently, according to the weather, it's never going to stop raining until Tuesday.
Oh fuck!
It rained so fucking hard today, man. I was like, is it going to do this again for 5 days straight? And then all the rivers overflow. They had to release the dam. When I drove out to that job that was like way far away, I was telling you about. I drove past this river that we like paddleboard on, and like trees were submerged. You'd see like a third of the way up the tree was in the water, and they announced it. Like we got like when they opened up the dam. They're like, just in case anybody in Middle Tennessee thinks that they should be on this river, don't.
Yeah,
like,
rethink that.
Yeah, it was like the end of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. For Memorial Day weekend, it's gonna be raining. That's
and we're gonna have some fun.
You'll figure it out.
And like thunderstorms out here kind of come and go, so it's like, we'll go outside for 30 minutes and we'll go inside and drink some beers. It'll be fun.
The smoker still works in the rain, right?
Smoker still works, yeah, in the rain.
Indeed. Yeah. So we'll see what happens this weekend.
Cool.
Anyways,
cool. Start things off, shall we? Yeah, let's podcast, sir.
All right. Norway, Ireland, and Spain said they will recognize a Palestinian state.
Recognize? Nobody expects the Spanish recognition.
I was going to give you props for that, actually. I saw that and it made me chuckle for sure.
I should have put a GIF. Damn it. Oh, well.
Nobody expects the Spanish recognition.
Who did they recognize? They recognized Palestine?
They recognize Palestine.
Did you hear that guy with the Irish accent be like, we should have... I can't do it. I'm going to do it that job. He's like, we should... it's about time they see it as a state. And I'm like, yeah, good point. Yeah.
It's so funny because in all of their individual press releases, they're like, look, we're not being anti-Semitic. We're not saying Israel shouldn't exist. We want to be make sure people understand
saying,
that
in fact, Israel exists at the detriment to the state that was there at one point. So like perhaps saying Palestine should be recognized isn't saying Israel doesn't. Israel is here, and the fact that we're fucking talking about this is because they're sitting on top of what was Palestine. So like just call the place that you're in that also in this area, and stop fighting with each other, and don't hate me for fucking saying it like that.
And they're all saying also like, we're not supporting Hamas. We're not saying what happened on October 7th is a good thing. Definitely not saying that. But we're just saying that we consider the two-state solution the best.
Exactly, sir.
Exactly. So that was fun. You want to hit this next one?
Sure. Israeli officials seized and shut down an AP live stream of Gaza. So it wasn't even like a fucking newsroom, right?
No.
Like, actually, that'd be worse. I don't know why I said it like that. It wasn't even a whole newsroom. So there was like, think of like if you're into surfing, like a surf cam that's always there, you can check on it. They have a surf cam over Gaza. Jesus.
Like a GoPro.
Yeah. So Israeli officials seized and shut down an AP live stream of Gaza, citing a new media law, but reverse course hours later amid backlash. So at first, I mean, I took that the way it was, where it was like, okay, it was one thing where you're shutting down state media for Qatar when you go after Al Jazeera, but like, man, like you're kicking the AP out. And I don't care that they reversed course. I mean, okay, that's like if you cut off all my fingers and you're like, okay, you have your pinky and your ring finger back. It's like, I know what you're trying to do here. Like, this is gonna be gone soon. I don't know, like there's a bad analogy. There's a bad analogy.
It's funny you bring up Al Jazeera because actually the reason that they initially did this was because Al Jazeera used some of the video from that live feed in their own press reporting.
Related.
But the AP allows news organizations to use their feeds.
Yeah.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
That's their Associated Press. And
Village
so
Bicycle.
right. So yeah, they allowed Al Jazeera to use some of their feed, and that's why it initially happened.
Was there ever a Village Bicycle? Hold on. That phrase always made sense because Austin Powers is charming and fun. Michael Myers is charming and funny in the 90s. But like, we should have all paused at, what do you mean Village Bicycle? This thing that is not common and never was a thing? Like,
I think like isn't there a Village Bicycle in Sound of Music, or am I just making that up?
you know what? I'm ignorant.
There
Sure.
might be.
I
I don't know.
didn't think about the Sound of Music. You mean bird scooters? Did capitalism kill the Village Bicycle and replace it with bird scooters?
Uber bikes.
Yeah.
Uber
So
bikes. That's
everybody gets a ride, but
that's
at
the
a
Third
very
Reich
affordable
invented Uber
price.
bikes.
At a very affordable price, Uber bikes.
Actually, you know what? Real quick.
Is that like a pro-Trump gun bike club?
Yes.
Uber bikes.
Actually, there was something I wanted to hit on the last headline I forgot to mention about the two-state solution.
Something you wanted to hit on? Was it Spanish ladies?
Oh, I do like a Spanish lady. No, so Israel
Was it
recalled.
they asked Portugal and Portugal said no, I don't want any of that? That was true.
It's true.
A lot of countries were invited to join them in the statement. We're like, no, fuck you.
Israel recalled their ambassadors to each of those three countries, and then
Oh.
called the ambassadors, those countries' ambassadors that were in Israel,
To leave?
No, they called them in to chastise them. And
Whoa.
there was recently a video released of Hamas taking some female IDF forces hostage on October 7th.
What
And
does that have to do with anything?
so they chastised them, and they were going to make them watch the video that was just recently
Oh,
released.
fuck off. Come
Yeah,
on.
that was their. You got to punish them because.
Dude, hold on. Like, everybody knows what happened that day.
Yes.
Like just being like, what about this one specific thing that's especially hard?
Right.
Dude, that is so fucking sleazy. God, they're so insufferable.
It's impossible to not like
Hate them.
be like, what the fuck are you guys doing over there?
Like, it takes everything. Like,
yeah.
Do you understand the amount of anti-Semitism I deal with, like on our DMs?
Yes.
And it's just like,
You've shown me some of it.
Israel is not making it easy.
Not at all. Not at all.
You know who I feel bad for are just people who are Jewish people. Like,
yeah, I agree.
They don't need nothing to do with none of that shit. Like, that sucks, man.
But also, so some of the protesters at some of these university campuses are Jewish kids,
right?
And they have
the opening question.
Yeah, so and you can have like a it's very. I imagine it's very difficult to to try and associate that with your ethnic background and then disagree with what that state is doing, and then just that's got to be a very challenging place to be. Frustrating. All right. Israeli military said it recovered the bodies of 4 hostages taken by Hamas. So there's about 100 hostages left of the original 200 and something that were abducted. Unclear how many of those hostages are actually still alive. The hostages that were recovered were actually killed on October 7th. So they were still taken. And some of these were hopefully for your mental health, you didn't see the video, but there was video of people in Gaza passing the bodies of these people around and sort of celebrating horrific stuff. Horrific stuff. So they recovered 4 of those hostages. Hamas isn't talking.
Can I ask a question that I would hopefully have refined, but
sure.
Thought it while we're doing the show. So when you say that there were people passing the bodies around, like desiccating a corpse, desiccating, not defecating.
Desiccating.
Okay. Were those people like, if you didn't know, would you assume those are the average Palestinians that we should hope Israel stops killing? And if I saw that, would it make me care less?
I don't think those people are representative of the average Palestinian by any means.
So they came out when they heard the bodies were there and said, I want to pass the body. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You can imagine why somebody would feel that way, though, right?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I 100% do not believe they're representative of.
I wanted to understand
Palestinian population. Yeah. I mean, there are hardliners on both sides. I mean, there's videos of,
but it's the same as like, we talked about the Trump cult in the previous.
Sure. I mean, there's videos
like, I'm fucking there. Where's it happening? Awesome.
Yeah. There's videos of Israelis chanting horrific things
Of
as
course.
well.
Yeah.
It's it
Yeah.
sucks. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, don't do you think there's a deficiency of making sure that people know that we're pissed off at Israel? I
No,
think yeah.
no, I think we're good. I
Okay.
think we covered it.
What is this? The fucking antiwar.com daily podcast? Is this just Israel for the first 30 minutes?
The first 4
All right.
headlines.
All right. Well, you know what? I am not giving you shit. I'm just finding the parallels.
Sure.
The U.S. military confirmed the first shipment of humanitarian aid has been driven ashore from the newly built floating pier off Gaza coast. I learned from anti-war radio this morning that equivalated, going with that, to about 10 trucks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
eventually they
many trucks.
say
I'm gonna have so much trucks. Thank you.
they're going to be able to ramp up to something like 150 a day eventually, which is still not anywhere near the amount of aid that they need.
Well,
Um,
not that they need, but that would have been pretty similar to their previous. Because wasn't it like
Right.
200 a day, or was it 2,000? It was 2,000 a day.
It was 2000. Yeah.
Mm,
So a lot of what's being shipped in is medicine, food, and then also like these pop-up shelter type things, because a lot of, apartment buildings and homes have
So
been
like those
destroyed.
crying rooms when you have a tech job.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, like the little pods that people can go in. I think they call them
Oh,
meditation pods, but
I
it's
think
just
it's like the ones FEMA deploys during
oh, got it. Yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah. Not New
Um,
Orleans though, because George Bush doesn't care about black people.
right,
All right.
right. So I mean, we've been talking about this whole bridge thing for months at this point. It's nice to see some actually movement here, that stuff's getting in. um aid groups are still saying, look, we need the Rafah crossing open, because this isn't enough, it's not fast enough, there's more efficient ways to get this stuff into the country. So they're still working on that, but this is something.
We're pretty much done with Israel after this headline.
We are.
Okay. Has Israel finessed their escalation in a manner that hasn't triggered both the Biden administration and the American public? And they're going to escalate to a point that'll be equally horrific to their earlier approach? Or are they going to stay at this like mid-level that is still killing a lot of civilians, but at a rate probably comparable to like, I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to, because like, there's a bunch of US operations like in Iraq during the third and fourth Iraq war, where it was just like we killed like 3-1 civilians, and
Oh, higher than that.
yeah, a lot higher than that.
Yeah.
So like these numbers are actually kind of on par. So it is upsetting. I'm not saying, well, that justifies it. I'm saying it's concerning to me that it gets called out at a higher rate when it's at a similar or sometimes even lower level than uncalled out operations. And I do understand why it gets amplified, because the existence of, I mean, we started the show talking about how they're a place on top of a place, but like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Can you finish that thought? Or
So I guess the question you're asking is this the frog in the boiling water sort of scenario?
yeah, and are they
Continue
doing
to
it for all
escalate?
Fraud protection.
It's right there. So,
It's right there. I don't know that they're going to continue to escalate. This feels like the status quo is probably going to settle in
well,
for a while
this
here.
is a lower intensity than their prior approaches, and a shitload of Palestinians have evacuated Rafah. Like I keep hearing them talk about like how atrocious it is, and part of the things they list about how bad it is how like 1 million civilians have evacuated Rafah. It's like, well, I honestly, knowing Israel's intentions and like wishing I could have it not be that they're going to destroy Rafah, I think we should be like, thank God 1 million civilians have evacuated Rafah. Like those are all 1 million people that aren't going to die in the next coming weeks, right? Like, or I mean, they might, but just from starvation, not from Israel.
Starvation, disease,
Yes. But
lots
do you
of.
get my point though?
I
Like,
understand your point. I understand your point.
like,
Um,
and then once they're
I,
gone, Israel go back to full bore.
I understand a lot of people making the argument of, other conflicts have had far worse impact on the civilian population. I feel like it's a false equivalency in a way, in how you can compare
Because
these
of the
wars.
context of this war.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't know how to say that.
And also the fact that Israel has been oppressing the Palestinian people for decades at this point. They've had multiple wars. They've done illegal settlements. By the way, they just the settlements that they stopped, they made their people leave
Over
from,
in
which were considered illegal
on
on
the
the
West
West
Bank.
Bank.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, their court just ruled today that they can go back.
Their
So
court,
yes,
Israel's court.
yes.
Shocking.
So all of that, you have to consider all of that in the context
That
of
was the
this
court that
war.
wasn't to the right enough for the people's
Right,
liking that they
right,
tried to
wasn't good
solve.
enough for Netanyahu. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think there's so much context here that you have to take into consideration that it's just difficult to compare these things. It's
It
like
is.
apples and oranges.
It is.
I
It
don't.
is.
That's not a great answer,
No, it's
but
okay, but we weren't going to resolve it. That's good
sure.
enough context. We can probably move on.
Yeah. Did you see Bill Burr on Mars podcast? He's like, "Why the fuck am I listening to you? You haven't done anything." Yo,
To Bill Maher.
yes, and
That's
he's like, "What, you gonna fix Ukraine and Russia next?" Because Mar was like, "You know what? Everybody just needs to stop attacking Israel. That would solve the problem." And he's like, "Oh, great, you fucking solved it.
Yeah.
Great job." It
Yeah.
was hilarious. You
Yeah,
haven't seen
I
that
said it
clip?
on the last show. I wish I had a 10-inch dick too. Like these people think it's like a fucking civilization game, and you can start off with like
Right.
certain attributes. Or I've never played Civ, but like you think this is a fucking video game where you can be like create a player. It's like no, like you have to deal with the reality that Hamas is going to exist at least in the hearts of people, even if you kill every single at the date of October 7th Hamas fighter. Like that's something like I fucking hate you for killing everyone around me and I want you to not be here anymore is going to continue to exist in Israel. And none of your actions will make that go away, even if you get rid of the organization.
And I've been saying that since
I
day
know
one.
you've been saying that. I've been saying it too. We
Yeah,
lived through
we both have. All right. Haiti's main airport reopened after being closed for nearly 3 months due to active gang
Come on
violence.
now. I'd rather take a Singaporean flight out of the UK and land in Haiti casually.
So gangs still control 80% of Port-au-Prince, the capital.
What about that
And
barbecue guy? We never heard about them cannibals. We moved on to
you know
zombie
what? It's
cicadas.
interesting that
Also, we ever
Haiti.
hear about them bed bugs in Paris anymore?
No, that's.
Yeah, that was started as like a smear campaign, I believe.
I think of the Kanye West song. When
I know you do.
so, so it's funny how Haiti sort of fell off the radar, but it's still a shit show there. A lot of people that were coming back to the airport who worked at the airport have been unemployed for 3 months. And they're like, yeah, we're happy to have our jobs again, but we're also scared shitless. When the gangs took over the airport, a lot of people got killed, a lot of people got injured. Thousands of people have died in gang violence over the last few months. Gangs have shot people as they're trying to get out of their communities to get away from the violence.
People
It's
just
just
trying to flee that area are being
yeah,
shot by gangs.
yeah. It's
And is
just
it because the people are valuable to them to have control over? Like, if you leave, we have less people, or is it just?
you know what it seems like a lot of the gangs there are just violent to be violent for violence sake, and maybe to impress their power or
Sure.
project their power.
Yeah, that person's leaving; they're gone anyways. Like,
Yeah.
kill them. Okay.
Yeah, it's a horrific situation that the world's kind of ignored because of all the other shit happening.
For a very long time.
That
Go to
too.
the Dominican Republic. It's fine over there. We're fine. Just this island's fine.
Speaking of fucked up French colonies, you should hit the next.
Australia and New Zealand started to evacuate their citizens from New Caledonia as the French Pacific territory. Just, Alan, what body of water does France border up against?
The
Atlantic Ocean. That's right.
Right.
And we are talking about a French colony in the Pacific that they
Yes.
got before airplanes.
Right. Yes. Fair point.
All right. So Australia and New Zealand evacuate their citizens from New Caledonia as the French Pacific territory faces violent riots over voting rights. You see all the fires, like
The burnt out cars and shit.
Yeah.
So New Caledonia. So just geographically, it's off the east coast of Australia, north of New Zealand. It's relatively small, but bigger than Fiji or some of those other islands that are there.
Yeah.
Really cool.
It's like a little archipelago, sort of.
Yeah. They have a huge reef around that's great for scuba diving. If you look at pictures of New Caledonia, it's absolutely gorgeous. So what happened was the French Parliament decided that people who lived in New Caledonia for at least 10 years would be able to vote in local elections in New Caledonia, and that had not previously been allowed.
Oh, so
There's
like French that moved there?
Yes, yeah, and there is a large indigenous population that obviously
And
already
people
lived
in
there.
Tennessee don't like it when Californians show up in their fucking country.
Right. So there's a large indigenous population that was already there, and so the riots started because they're like, "Hey, you're taking away part of our power to be self-ruling, essentially."
Yeah.
And so,
Sovereignty.
so
And you're
yeah,
replacing your what's that word when votes don't count? It's all good.
stop the steal.
It's all good.
No, but so,
Disenfranchising
but
our native
disenfranchising.
population.
But I mean, so first of all, it's
And
2024, and there's still French colonies. There's
dude,
that we could talk about.
dude, the pictures of New Caledonia are beautiful.
Right? Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely
Oh,
gorgeous. And so kind of
that's
just
on fire.
horrific to see this sort of violence breaking out
Yeah.
in a place like that. And not like America did really great with their indigenous populations either.
Yeah.
But fuck,
You
man.
know what the French should do
What's
is they
that?
should get like a larger part of New Caledonia, don't you?
Right, right.
And say that's French New Caledonia, and then not
Just move
identify
everybody else. Yeah,
and
yeah.
just not call it anything and just pretend like it doesn't exist,
Right.
and then have them live there. And then they won't call it an open air prison because they ignore it. And then when their people burn their things down, they'll act like they did nothing wrong.
I see what you're doing
Oh,
there.
you do see where okay.
That's nicely done. Nicely
Thanks,
done.
thanks,
That's
buddy. Your turn, DOJ.
DOJ sued Oklahoma over a
Boomer's
law
turn.
that would make it a crime punishable by up to 2 years in prison to live in the state without legal immigration status. This is their similar law was passed in Texas, which
Oh, that
is
was the whole reason everything went down in Texas because they were
right.
like, okay.
Yeah, and that
And this
law
business would be enforced by state police over, and this would change the
federal.
normal
Yeah,
jurisdiction of immigration
right,
related offenses.
right. So
And
the
can't
law,
you just catch people when they do things that are like against what you want your citizens doing? Like,
yeah, it
like we
seems
still need jobs. Like we still do need jobs. Like people, like the companies want to hire more people. Like,
yeah, they need people, they need workers. So yeah, the law in Texas was paused. This one likely will be as well. DOJ is saying obviously this is unconstitutional, similar to what happened with the Texas
what
law.
happened with the follow up injunction from that? I thought we were going to get a decision, and it never really came.
It still hasn't come. Yeah,
Huh.
so it's just been paused so far in
Huh.
Texas.
All right.
I assume the same thing will happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's upsetting. So I guess you know what? There'll be a follow up on that, and I'm glad we didn't like not talk about it when it initially came up. But that's probably good for now. Do the next one. FDIC Chairman Martin. Ooh, come on, Grunberg.
Grunberg, yeah.
Oh, all right. FDIC Chairman Martin Grunberg announced that he will resign after an extended review found a toxic culture of misconduct and sexual harassment at the bank regulator. I am
So
reading these words for the first time. Alan, go ahead.
so this external auditor found there was like 1,000 employee complaints, and so as a
A
result
lot
of
of
that,
sexual assault.
they brought in this external auditor to
Harassment.
sort of see what's going on.
I
There
feel like
were
if you external audit too much, that's its own form of harassment.
it's fair.
All right.
So they found instances of senior leadership sending dick pics to female
No.
yes,
People still
employees.
do that?
There was a lot of homophobia.
Oh.
There was instance of a senior
It's
official
banking, right? Like,
yeah, a senior official calling gay employees little girls.
what do they say this?
Lighthearted, fancy free.
I don't think he said
Do
that.
they
No.
name that island as a part of the Philippines?
Fagatoga.
We talk about that.
No, I don't think so.
Something gay, no doubt.
Surely happened.
So this has been out there, I guess, for a while. This is the first time it came on my radar, but I guess Republicans have been urging the Biden administration to do something about this for a
Really?
little while. Yeah. And it's
Wait, you
finally
said Republicans have been
yes,
urging?
yes.
Huh.
And it's finally happening. This
Why is
guy,
this a partisan issue?
it
Because
shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I guess just because it's it's a Democrat administration it's happening. This
Dude,
guy's
you
been
should
in
be happy to get scumbags out of your like
regardless of
get my
yeah,
name out your mouth, as Will Smith
right.
once said.
So this guy has been at the FDIC for
Hold on.
over a couple of decades in various positions. He was known as sort of, a bureaucrat that understood the lay of the land
He
and
was
was
a
pretty effective.
bureaucrat. Know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. But so, obviously he's taking the fall for this toxic culture and he should.
Is he
So
taking the fall, or was he asked to leave? Sounds like
he was asked to leave.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Your services are no longer welcome.
Right. They're not, so they haven't found his replacement yet, so he's gonna stay on until that happens.
Oh my
But
God, are you fucking kidding me?
no,
Hi, you've overseen this horrific crime. It's okay. Just watch the wheel until we get
until we
another guy.
get another captain. Yeah.
Fuck off, man. You don't have deputy? No, because it was a whole administration. Oh man.
Yeah.
Burn it down. Just burn it down. In the Fed, in the FDIC. Wait a second. Hold on. We like
So
that one.
speaking of, the EPA issued a warning about more frequent and severe cyber attacks on U.S. water systems and urged utilities to immediately bolster protections. Actually, I was thinking about the next headline, I think.
Oh, okay.
The one after that. Yeah, so we've heard.
Oh, sorry. I read the next one.
We've heard rumors or sort of news stories, headlines like this for quite some time about infrastructure. I think,
And we've listened to podcasts that specifically deal with that. So it was kind of more
Sure.
front of mind for us too.
Yeah, I think more like the electrical grid infrastructure.
Dude, the healthcare,
Yeah.
Ascension Health they're like, we're on paper systems, but it's worse than 20 years ago because we don't know how to use these.
Right. Yeah. But I guess what I remember about infrastructure being under attack by cyber warfare is more around the electrical grid, like nuclear plants, things like that.
Or that constellation or that pipeline. Remember that pipeline?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't remember hearing much about the water systems being impacted, but
Come
yeah,
on.
so they're
The
talking.
one like China's in all our water systems.
So they're talking about potential impacts of changing like a chemical ratio. They treat the water with X amount per million, and if you adjust, if they can hack the system and change that chemical ratio,
I know what'll
then
happen.
Turns the freaking birds gay.
it could turn the birds gay. It could also kill people, and people could lose access to clean running water. So they've seen instances of China, Russia, and Iran, all three hacking groups from those countries getting into some of these systems. And, a lot of these small municipalities, it's not like they have like a fucking head of cyber to deal with this kind of shit.
Right.
And they're run by, co-ops or whatever the case might be. So the EPA is like saying, hey guys, we need to take this seriously. You need to do a risk assessment. You can't use default passwords.
Like when you look at Wild Wild West, and it was just like some yokel sheriff that could get overrun by a gang. Like it's the same thing. Like even if they had somebody there, it's like if they can get anyone, it's some guy that knows computers in the town.
Right. Yeah.
So what were you saying? Like you can't use default passwords.
Can't use default passwords. The EPA is saying,
it's amazing how hard it is to hack things when you add one more character.
Seriously.
Like, just brute forcing, even like time wise. Now maybe that's changed with AI, but
add a special character, add a case sensitive character.
And if you just go up a couple more numbers with that, it becomes exponentially more difficult. And it really actually
that's the way that works.
Yeah.
So the EPA is saying, look, we'll train your guys for free. We'll set up classes. We'll do whatever it needs to be done, but we got to harden this infrastructure pretty quickly.
Well, I'm glad they're talking about it. I guess that's the good side is they are talking about it. It does feel like Conspiracy Web's been talking about this for decades, like at least a decade,
Yeah. Remember when there was like an electrical station that got shot up and they're trying to figure
out. Yeah. Well, that was because they didn't like they were going to be a drag show in their county. So they shot up the electrical stations to have electricity.
Oh, fuck. I forgot that detail. Yeah. All right. You want to hit this next one?
Farms didn't forget. Yeah. Federal judge sentenced the man convicted for attacking and attempting to kidnap Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer. They didn't include that in the headline. To 30 years in prison.
Hey, you know what else they didn't include in that headline?
That he butt fucked him because they loved each other.
No. He was a Canadian citizen in the US. In the U.S. illegally.
These goddamn Canadians. I say this every time on the show. 99% of Canadian citizens live within 200 feet of the American border. By the way, I make a smaller number every time I say it. And each time I highlight that to a Canadian friend, they're like, yeah, I know. They move on thinking it's the real statistic. But like,
it's not that big.
These goddamn Canadians, they're coming in here and attacking our senators.
Except for Simon Holland. We love you.
Simon King.
King. I'm sorry. Why do I
Who's
say
Simon
Holland?
Holland? Some
I don't know.
musician, I guess?
So I think it's interesting that the right hasn't seized on this as like we let a fucking illegal immigrant in and
You're surprised
he
that
committed a
the
crime.
right didn't say that the guy that attacked their
I'm
least
being
favorite lady. Oh, I'm
facetious.
sorry.
I mean, obviously they wouldn't.
Oh,
But if it were the other side, clearly that would be blown up on every Fox
yeah,
News headline across,
for
all over the
sure,
place.
man. Yeah.
Um, so they asked for 40 years, the prosecutor, and they got 30. Paul Pelosi says he's still recovering. He's still having, um,
Jesus, really?
medical issues based on. I mean, he got his skull fractured, and he's
Oh,
fucking
I
like
know.
80
Yeah.
years old.
I know. Simon Holland, public figure. I didn't realize I was supposed to know everything by my second rodeo. That's still a very low number of rodeos.
I know that name for some reason. I don't know why. Is he an
Well,
author or something?
I don't know. He has 700. He has a 750,000 followers on Instagram, so he's somebody.
Yeah.
You know what? We give this guy a follow. All
Okay.
right, your turn. Sorry, buddy.
Um,
I mean that was a horrific attack, and the fact that everybody immediately went to like, well, they were having a gay tryst while his wife was out of town. It's like you're talking about a 90-year-old. Like,
yeah.
just come on, like settle the fuck down. Like,
And who was
like,
out?
like, do you remember the line that finally settled, like, snapped America out of McCarthyism? At long last, or have you no decency? And everybody just went like, oh, what the fuck have we been doing? You're right.
Like woke up.
When
Yeah.
is that going to happen with this bullshit?
Remember who was out front to promoting that whole gay tryst thing?
I mean, friends of ours, so I don't want to call anybody out in the group chat.
Elon Musk.
Oh my God, you're right. It was Elon.
It was Elon Musk.
How is that not a smear all over him like the cream of his rival's wife? Cream of his rival's wife.
But people won't get that unless they hear the hidden track, I don't think.
Oh, that was from the hidden track?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. It definitely was.
okay.
So subscribe on
Elon's
Patreon.
been out here fucking Google wives, dude.
Subscribe on Patreon. It's only $3 a
Yeah,
month. And
yeah.
you
Oh
can-
yeah,
you
I
can
didn't give it away.
check out the hidden track.
There's more there than that. But
Yes.
yeah, he'd be doing that.
He'd be doing that. All right. The Supreme Court ruled 7-2 that
Scrotus.
the
Oh
funding.
shit, they're coming out with rulings.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my anxiety up. All this shit's it's the next month, probably, right?
Oh, I have a fun story in other news.
Okay.
The funding structure of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Wait, why did they not answer the president that's on trial question first? That shows you what's important to them. Like, okay, what did they solve? What did they solve?
They said the CFPB was constitutional.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I promise you that it doesn't mean anything to me as much as, hey, can one of the two people that are probably going to be president legally be here? Or no, it wasn't that question. It was, are they immune from being punished for crimes they committed in perpetuity? Like,
Right.
what?
Perpetuity.
Why are you answering things about consumer privacy, financial protection, bro?
I agree. I agree. So this was so this was actually kind of a darling of the right because they just want to eliminate more bureaucracy.
Lemonade.
And the lobbyist of the payday loan
That's
industry.
so upsetting. You know the end of the story. If they don't start off with the thing that's the most important thing, they're telling you we're not treating this seriously.
It's the same thing.
Therefore, they're not going to give you the answer that is appropriate to the actual crimes having been committed. It's going to be like that by not answering that first, they're telling you that when we get to it, we're going to tell you the thing which is obvious, which is we don't really care, and he's made a point. And if anything, we'll ask a lower court to resolve this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they won't do it right away because if they do, then the judge in that district would be like, "Cool, we'll call hearings. We're going to get witnesses in here, and we'll have this shit all happen before the election."
Yes.
Go on to the real story.
All right. So the payday lending industry lobby was
scumbags.
Yeah, that's a super sleazy industry, and so they were lobbying to have this bureaucracy removed because obviously they had done things to rein them in. So I mean, I think the Supreme Court made the right call. I'm glad they did that. Surprisingly,
I've been talking so much. What did you say to begin with? What did they decide?
They decided that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was constitutional. That it was
something created by the Bidens, right?
I think it was before the Bidens, but recently, maybe Obama, maybe after 2008. But yeah, it was created recently,
Okay.
and so they were saying, look, the the argument was that the funding for that organization was not constitutional, and the Supreme Court said no, it is. The government can do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Mixed
12.
thoughts. I mean, those people are complete scumbags, and people kind of get funneled into it because they have to. But I mean,
Yeah, agreed.
since this came out, did they stop those people? Did any of that go in this? Those things have been in effect, right? Like
They
have
have been in effect.
practices. Okay. I still see a shitload of payday
Oh, they're
lending.
still out there. Yeah.
So they seem to still have no problem staying in business. They just have to
Yes.
be more ethical, apparently.
Yeah. They
Okay.
make them be very clear about the actual interest rate that
Yeah.
they're charging.
It
They have
turns
to,
out desperate people are still desperate, but like at
yes,
least like marginal, like people are like, well, you know what? No, okay, now that I know everything, I may not make that decision.
sure. It's like the
That
Surgeon
feels
General's
like
warning.
appropriate regulation.
Yeah, it's like the Surgeon General's warning on a pack of cigarettes or
Or
whatever.
like when you buy a gun, they're like, "You promise you don't do drugs?" I'm like,
Right.
I promise.
Gotta check the box, Hunter. Check the box.
Why do I broadcast my crimes? Why do I keep doing that? That's why our show is always going to be unlisted. This one will not be taken off the paywall.
All right, you want to hit that next?
Yeah, the Justice Department formally proposed a rule that would federally reclassify marijuana. See, I didn't break any laws. It's where am I at?
From a schedule.
Well, we talked about this, right? We
Yes.
talked about it 2 weeks ago when it was announced, but this was like formalized.
Yes.
You know what? Let me just say this. So weed is no longer going to be Schedule 3 narcotic. It's going to be moved down to like steroids, things that have a medical application.
It's going from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which is like
Thank you.
steroids,
Right,
ketamine. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Things that you could conceive that people could possibly ingest without it ruining their fucking life, right? Like
Yes. Yes.
it's not literally heroin, right?
Right.
Tempted to go down a libertarian rabbit hole about drug vending machines, but it's fine. I'm not going to do that. I think now is not the time to take the victories that camp got and just be complacent. I think that now is the time to say thank you for that morsel. But in fact, I think the line of thought that you're on is that these things should not be crimes. And that, in fact, we have a lot of populations within this nation who have decided that we would actually like our citizens to have the choice to buy that or not buy that or do that, consume that or not. What do I say frequently? I haven't said it in a while. I don't think it's outrageous to say that the individual should have or something to say about what they do with their body, right?
Mhm.
And what
Yeah.
they consume and how they use their body. So, even if that just means you say, look, it's no longer federally treated this way, and 50 states can decide, and Tennessee will be epically last. No, Kentucky. Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Alabama. I always forget. 49 and 50 are always there. Like education, like quality of life, age of death, or whatever that is, life expectancy. It's Alabama, Mississippi.
It's always bad.
Don't forget Arkansas. Where am I? What am I trying to get to? I think now is the time to really push this and be like, great, fantastic, good point, finish the thought and complete the idea. It's not. Biden went into office saying he thinks it's wrong that people are locked up for these things. And then he brought in a vice president that made a career off doing it. That he's torn. I get it, Natalie Imbruglia. The move at this point is not to take this as a big victory. People have been asking for this for decades.
Mhm.
This isn't like, hey, people have kind of been wondering if you can move this to Schedule 3. No. In 2015, when they decided not to, it was heartbreaking. It was like,
Yeah.
come on. Like, we've all seen why this is not like, how are you this and it was Obama. We're like, it's been Obama. He's almost going out of office. Do it as you head out the door. Like,
Right.
let's fucking go. And they're like, nope, hold that in place. And then you knew they wouldn't consider it for another 10 years. And so like, it's just fucking stupid that you can get drunk off your mind for whatever dollars you have in your pocket at a liquor store and have all of the negative consequences that inevitably come from being drunk.
Mhm.
that drunk. And you can't go buy a plant where there is a point where sure you can become like fully brain dead and just on the couch until you sober up, but there is a point where you just don't get higher anymore, right? But you
Sure.
could get so drunk that you don't know that you drove your car into a farmer's market, right? Like
Yes.
it.
Yes. All right. So a couple things. So you talk about Biden and selecting Harris as his VP, given her background.
Yeah, he's
Also
not a
had
VP yet.
Biden also had a background, the crime bills like in the 90s.
Excellent point, and I'm ashamed I forgot about that. Good point. Yeah,
So
co-author
it,
94 crime bill.
it is interesting that he's done such a 180 here. And Biden has
Around long enough.
And yeah, right. You live long enough to see your enemies float down the river, right? But Biden has really actually put his money where his mouth is. He has moved
You mean
to
ice cream?
he has moved to have people who were convicted federally of possession of marijuana to have those convictions wiped, and get those people free and not have that on their record.
How do you get convicted for a federal marijuana crime?
You know
Like
what? I don't
smoke
know.
pot and spud in front of the FBI. I mean, like, look, one of us has to arrest you, and the cops aren't around. Like, okay,
I don't know.
I
That
get it.
did
That was the easy lever to pull, and I
right.
appreciate that. But they're escalating, and we should push for more.
Right. I see that. And every time I see a headline about this story, I always include it, even if it's similar, because there are steps that have to go through this process for it to ultimately become the law of the land.
Yeah.
And so we're inching closer and closer. I think you're right. I think that this is baby steps and we can do more. But this also comes off the heels of the disaster that happened in Oregon. And I think that that's going to be politically difficult to
It's
maneuver.
weed, dog. You're talking about
No. I'm saying, but you're saying we should push further beyond weed, right?
I
That's what
mean,
you're.
I wasn't. I was saying we should push for
Oh,
full legalization,
oh,
but I
okay,
did I did dabble in full
okay,
legalization, but that's
okay,
that was what I
understood.
was tempted by.
No,
I
weed
love the idea of
absolutely,
drug vending machines. Like yeah, but
weed absolutely should be just legal everywhere.
yeah, at a minimum, let the states truly decide.
Sure.
Because right now the states are like, well, we can't decide. The federal government says we can't. It's like, do you understand federalism or not? Like, they
But I
have the
mean,
power
states
on
like,
you. Try me. Like,
it's funny that the whole situation in Oregon, because Oregon was one of the first to legalize, at least
yeah.
medically,
Yeah.
cannabis. So yeah, no, I think this is a positive direction. The other thing about this, moving it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, is this enables universities to do, or whoever's out there, to do studies on
Right.
marijuana
Yeah,
and
you know
really
what? That was a huge point that I remember from the last time when they said, "No, we're not gonna change this," that really
right.
let me down. It was like, "Dude, do you wanna get answers from this or fucking not?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so
so
moving it to a Schedule 3 allows people to
I
study it.
talk about amygdala stuff and all that all the
Yeah.
time now, and one of the key things about, how maybe sensitivity in the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala relationship is cannabinoid receptors and abuse. I don't really want to finish that thought because I don't want to change my habits. So I'll talk to you later about that. Maybe they're related, right? Like it does seem to flow. Wow, I smoked weed 30 minutes ago, and now I think everything in my body that hurts is cancer. Like by weed, I mean things I bought legal in Tennessee
Yes,
because
of course.
okay.
Delta 6 or whatever.
No,
All right.
THCA, it's not the same thing.
Okay. Let's see, where am I? The US added 26 textile firms to the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act entity list due
You
to
know what? We were
concerns.
happy when they came out with that list. And
Yeah,
okay, sorry, go on.
due to concerns of sourcing cotton from Xinjiang,
Xinjiang.
China. So
That's fun to say in a row. Say it again without interruption.
Xinjiang, China.
That feels good, right?
It
Going
does
off
feel
the tongue,
good.
like
Yeah.
Klobuchar.
Yes, similar.
All that.
So these are companies which aren't necessarily Chinese based, but who are sort of middlemen pipeline from these
Chinaman?
not
Middleman?
clear,
Oh,
but
Middle Eastern men.
whoever it is, whatever these corporations.
Okay.
So they're adding them to the list and saying no, we don't want to buy cotton from them.
Oh, interesting. So we're not being so bold as to say, you Chinese are not welcome in our trade policy, but these people who you do business with and we don't like the way you treat Uyghurs, we won't do business with them.
Yes, because essentially the U.S. is saying that the cotton is being produced by forced labor camps.
I don't know, man. These shifty Chinese are going to go to another another middleman.
I'm sure they'll find
Alright.
a way around it, but I still think this is
Slinky? Should I said slinky Chinese? Is that
no.
oh, okay. Neither? Okay. The way you said no. No. No, I can't believe I have to tell you this.
You cannot do that, Donald.
No. Puerto Rico.
No, you cannot do that, Donald.
What you doing?
I don't know. The 26th, no. The Biden
14th,
administration
yes.
unveiled plans to release 1 barrels of reserve gas on what? We went into the petroleum reserve?
So the gas reserve is different from the oil reserve.
Oh, gotcha. This is gas. Ooh, this comes into hi, European listeners, which we talked about you in the pre-show. Join the Patreon. You'll hear all that conversation. We talked fondly of you.
Yes, we did.
Not fondling. It's tough.
There's no sexual assault. I promise.
Sexual.
Sexual.
I want to get us. There's G's in that word. You're gonna get us
Yes.
flagged down. The AI.
Mhm.
You know the AI puts up segments on Spotify.
No.
Nameless sent me a thing. He was like, "Hey, you should isolate this segment." He sent me a screenshot, and I was like, "What are all these fucking tabs I didn't create?" Like, yeah,
It just does it by itself.
yeah, YouTube doesn't. Fucking sitting up on their Google money, acting like they can't do anything. Meanwhile, Spotify. Apparently, I'm a pro Spotify guy now. Where were we? Why did I say any of that?
Petroleum, gas.
Oh, this is a gas. Oh, okay. Going to make sense right now. So
Yes.
this is a whole gas America, gas Europe thing, right? Like in America, gas means put in your car and drive around. Gas everywhere else in the world means, well, where they use English words, means natural gas, right?
Well, it's
Natural gas.
funny. Yeah.
Heating gas,
Yes.
energy. Can I finish the headline or is the funny thing
No, go
first? Okay.
Go ahead.
It's weird for me to be upset about you interrupting. The Biden administration unveiled plans to release 1 million barrels in reserve. That says gasoline. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
You
gasoline.
read it. You read it.
Okay. The Biden administration unveiled plans to release 1 million barrels of reserve gasoline in the Northeast before July 4th, citing an effort to lower prices, though it follows a mandate by Congress to close the reserve.
You let me say all that stuff about gas versus gas, and you knew it was about gasoline the whole time. I said petroleum reserve. Isn't that the same thing? And you say no.
No, because I said the oil reserves are different from the gas reserves.
Oh, okay. So,
And
so are you saying I made the wrong assumption
No.
5 minutes ago? This is the first time something like this
So,
ever happened.
so the oil reserves remain. They've been there since like the 70s when we
Do you
had
understand
that.
how much Natasha hates me right now? She's like, this is what I deal with all the fucking time with this guy. Like, he thinks he's so funny. He jumps on this whole tangent, and then he's like, all right, so this is what I was saying.
So the gas reserves are a more recent thing, and Congress had already said, look, we want you to release this and close this. We don't need to have this anymore. So the Biden administration doing this
interesting.
now is kind of like, well, Congress already told you have to.
But I'm going to do this in a way that's convenient for me for the holiday weekends when the Saudis are going to try to throttle down oil production and drive up gas prices.
Yes.
You know what?
Within 6 months of an election.
You know what? I was just going to say, well done on an election year. And they act like Sleepy Joe's just dead behind the wheel. Somebody back there is like, no, this is smart.
Speaking of,
You know, which is funny because what's Trump's plan? I'm going to give tax breaks to the people that got me here, and then all those tax breaks are going to fuck over the middle class that actually got me here, and then some of those people won't vote for me in 4 years. Weird how I didn't win that election. I'll just lie about it. Okay, speaking of which,
good tangent. Speaking of which, the Biden administration canceled $7.7 billion more in student loans for 160,000 additional borrowers. In total, the administration has canceled about $167 billion.
now, this isn't that Art Institute one.
No, this is
one
different.
on top of that.
In student debt for 4.75 million borrowers. So again, I will just reiterate, yes, we are 6 months from a general election for the president.
He has been doing that though.
Yeah,
And
he has been doing that.
He had a broader one too, didn't he? So this is
Yeah, that one got struck. The big one got struck down.
right.
Said they couldn't do that. But I mean, this is not an administration that is asleep at the wheel politically, I don't think. And they are trying to, do things that will move the needle in the, I think, especially in the middle class and in the middle of the country. So
Nice.
I think Europe. Last one.
Last one right here.
Yeah. Same here.
Existing home sales fell 1.9%. So this is numbers of homes sold, not
Yes.
home price. So Existing home sales and not new construction.
Right.
Existing, I burped. I didn't say anything. All right. Existing home sales fell 1.9% in April from March, so month over month, as inventory increased 9%. Alan, move your cursor. Asshole. It's like right where I was talking. Like, I read word for word. I can't read ahead. Do you read, like, do you scan through and just remember it and say it?
I do scan through as I'm reading, but I don't like try to
No,
memorize
it's
it.
like word, 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 mouth, 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 mouth. Yeah. Not everybody did that.
Spunk.
Existing home sales fell 1.9% in April from March as inventory increased 9% on an annual basis. Sales are down 1.9% also, while the median price is up 5.7%. Interesting, price continue to rise. In this context, inflation is at 3.3%, as you mentioned a few weeks ago. I found this out today. You know when inflation was also 3.3%?
When?
In 2004, when George Bush was reelected. So I don't remember anybody saying a problem about 3% inflation at the time, right? Like it's
No,
going to have to get down to flat for people to be okay again.
I guess so. I guess
Because
so.
nobody's accustomed to prices being higher. Like life still sucks at this level.
Right.
Bosses haven't given me raises. You hear that?
Yes.
I was
There are
told that
some.
I'm close to maxing out, which scares me.
Oof.
It's not a flex. It's not as high as you would hope. And it was like, yeah, we'll get creative and come up
There
with
you go.
structures.
Get you a 401k.
Start a
Uh,
training program that you'll pay me on the side with.
There's some interesting numbers in this article. So, if you had to guess what the median price of an existing home sold in
Oh,
April was in the
that's
U.S.,
fun.
what are you
I
thinking?
feel like my
Give me
guess
an over under.
would be different than your guess because you live in California land.
Mm.
Median price?
Across the country.
So that includes a lot of like sub 100Ks in places, but it wouldn't be a lot though.
There's not a lot of sub
It's
100K out there.
not the population centers. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to say 375,000.
You're very close.
Am
In
I?
fact, Price is Right rules. So it's
Didn't
400.
go over.
Right. It's
Oh,
407,600.
that's kind of a bit more. You know what? I am good at it. Natasha was like, "Hey, you know that house we were looking at in our neighborhood?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "How much do you think it was?" And I like got it within 3. Like,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
100.
A couple other things. Sales of homes worth over $1 million or priced over $1 million were up 34% year over year.
Yeah,
That is the largest active segment of the market is sales of homes over $1 million.
I feel like that's an interesting factoid, but I don't think that represents anything because for how long have we been amazed that some of these houses are 800,000
Yeah.
and you're telling me that prices went up 20%? It's like, boom, we just tipped over a number and now we're like, look at this. We care. If you care about it being over a certain number and like a million being a number we grew up like, ooh, I want to be a millionaire, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, look, don't get me wrong, $1 million home is $1 million home, and that's fucking wild, especially considering a lot of these properties. But they were just sitting at 800,000, which was fucking stupid because they were like 3-bedroom houses in areas that just gentrified, but everybody wants to live there, so demand caused the price to rise.
Sure. So actually, I need to make a correction. I made a slight error there.
Well,
So,
better not make me look like a fool,
no,
Alan.
not at all. The supply of homes priced at more than $1 million was up 34% year over year.
That
Sales
means
of
they haven't
homes,
sold.
sales of those priced over 1 million was up 40% year over year.
Whoa! So people are like, "Fuck it."
And
I'm
sales
out.
of homes priced 100,000 or below are down 7%
Those
year over
don't
year.
sound like markers from bad economies.
They
That
don't.
sounds like people that can buy $1 million homes are having no problem
And it's
outbidding
interesting
other
because
people that are trying. Like, and remember, they outbid someone.
right. And it's interesting
Right.
because the interest rates are higher than they've been in quite a while. So you would think that would have a downward
I
pressure.
also saw a thing about the interest rates in the 90s during the
I
90s.
saw that you posted on Instagram. Yes.
And I mean, what were those numbers? Like
Like
6, 5,
7%, same.
7?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
same. Almost the same.
I mean, this is the effect of like, look, in the Fed, right? Like, I'm still on.
Yeah.
I'm that's still me. But like, we, mu- all that number represents is a more accurate reflection of the price that money is worth if you're letting someone take it from you for a little bit and give it back, right?
Sure. Yes.
So it does seem like it is more valuable So it should cost more to do that. For the entire like late 2000s post economic post recession until the pandemic, or no, until like 2021, we got like people like me and you were saying, hey, money is free. like
Practically.
like it
Damn
didn't
near. Yeah.
cost any, like people would just give you money and you just give it back. And it was like, I spent that money on a business and I expect to make money on my business because people are giving their money out. So like these people are getting money and they're buying things. Like that's not quite how it was, but you get what I mean. Like that was
Yes.
the nature, the feel of things. But people like
That
me
was
and you,
artificial.
people like me and you were saying that whole time, recognize that this is unusual, that money is
Yes.
this free. And people that have been around a bit, what I'm thinking of specifically is Oscar Santana's dad. He told him, he's like, take out a loan to buy a house now because money is
Oh,
free right now.
I do remember that.
And then his dad
He
paid for half
bought that.
the house.
Yeah, he bought
But
that shitty little house in
yes,
DC.
yeah. Because but like money, and so like when me and Natasha bought this place, we were like, we need to do this now because
Oh,
this
you
is
got in the right
final.
time for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I brag about this all the time, and I know how fortunate I am. It's not a brag. We literally signed our paperwork the last day before rates went up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if it was a day later, we couldn't have afforded it at that, and we certainly couldn't afford it at now. So I sympathize with everybody, and I recognize how fortunate I am. But yeah, so my point is, we spent a decade of being like, money's free. If you give me money, I give it back. Like, I'll give you a little bit, but not much, And
Right,
it's
right.
like, well, historically, that was 7%, 6% in the good times.
Right.
Like how many times do we come on this podcast and like to be like, listen here, kids, I know we got a lot of Gen Z that tune into this. You will not believe how great 1994 was. Yeah, the internet was still dial up, and you just go
Okay.
on there and like download pictures of pornography, and that's how you got off as a teenager then. But like it was amazing.
It was pretty great.
I would go back in a heartbeat. I'd
Yes.
give up my smartphone porn in a second. Like, I don't need
Hell
none of
yeah.
this social media. I'd have to
Hell
talk
yeah.
to Alan in person. We'd have to have a different podcast. But like, dude, I'd go back in a fucking second. Like,
Yeah.
and that was 6%.
Mhm.
And people were
was.
like, that's fine. Things
fine.
are good.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
Do you hear people say strew all the time, or is that just me?
Oh, strew instead of it's true.
It's true.
Now that you call it out, I think I have heard people say it
I'll
like
have to
that.
make a button out of it one of these days. Next
For
time we
sure.
have a good one, I'll say strew and I'll put it on the board. All right.
All right.
Yeah, well, that's it. We made it through the headlines. What do you have in other news?
Other news. All right. We got a couple headlines here. You put this one in. This is interesting and fun.
Well, there was a word in it I was unfamiliar with, and I'm looking forward to you getting to that.
Marriage of synthetic biology and 3D printing produces programmable living materials.
Oh,
So
programmable what? Not guns. It's a 3D printing. I thought of guns.
No. Programmable living materials. So the word you're talking about is bioink.
I don't think so.
What do you think it is? Bionic?
Bioink. Bioink.
Bioink.
How is it not bioink?
Because it's bioink.
Well, I read the same article you're reading.
I guess
They never say biological ink if that's what you're implying.
they don't.
Okay, so they use bioink.
Bioink. It's called Engineered Plant Living Materials, or EPLMs. So essentially what they did is they used plant-based cells. They print them in a structure. They use a bacteria to genetically
incentivize where they grow to and stuff, or how they grow.
Exactly. And so they've done things like this before, but never this complicated of a structure. So with a 3D printer and creating bioink, bioink, they were able to do this. Then they use bacteria to genetically modify these plant-based cellular materials. And then,
sorry, I meant to hit frogs gay.
And then they have to use like an antibacterial wash to get rid of the bacteria after it's done its job.
Oh, wow.
And then these things grow, and they grow in their structure. They're able to grow certain pigments.
Wait. This is like a big key to everything in the future.
Dude, potentially you could 3D print something that
you just give the life form the instruction, and then it's like a symbiotic. This is like paint with all the colors of the wind, or whatever Pocahontas sang about. This is like harnessing light. No, that's the opposite of Pocahontas.
I mean, potentially. So if you really want to go far out, it's possible that you could 3D print and genetically modify a structure that would then build you an object. Like,
Yeah.
it could, like, grow into a
Well, you
table or
don't get
whatever
to
the
that without this step.
right. That's fucking
Is there
crazy.
any impediment to that at this level that like, is there any
No.
reason that you can't imagine that scaling at this?
No. And there is a picture where, they created this structure, and it has, like, a leaf structure in the middle that is, designed to come out red, like a red pigment, and then around it is, like, a circle or oval structure that is designed to come out yellow, and the pigments
They
that they
just gave it instructions.
right, and those pigment it looks cool, but also those pigments are commercially viable, like, people can use that stuff to create
Whoa.
other stuff. Um,
Wait, is this like sourdough primer, whatever that's called, where you
so
can just like keep going off of it, or is it a
So that's like a yeast type thing, right? So that you
yeah?
have to feed that sugar and then it does what it does.
Okay, so yeast is not bacteria. I'm making a note. Got it.
Right. Right. But this isn't bacteria either. This is actually plant cells. They just use the bacteria to genetically modify it. So
Oh,
it's like similar to CRISPR, but not. And these are much simpler organisms, much simpler cell structures, but just really cool
which makes
science.
them more applicable. If it's simpler, you can
Yes.
apply it to more things.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And we're only in the beginning structure of this, but
Right. This
it's
is the first step of a like 100-step
oh
process.
yeah, it's
Is
very
like,
cool. Very, very
dude,
fucking
that's
cool.
cool. So like anything, 5 to 10 years out, and we'll see the
We
research.
could see. Yeah, although I think commercially, I mean,
Hey,
there may
will
be
this
some
have any porn applications? Because like whenever we have all this AI stuff, you know what? I was joking, and then I just thought about it. I don't like that joke anymore.
what if you 3D
Nope,
print something that would make you a fleshlight? I mean, that's
that's
possible.
what I didn't want you to say. You know, I'm pretty sure if you don't clean your fleshlight, it'll make its own.
Oh god. I don't want to think about that.
This episode is brought to you by, dude, how crazy is it? The Joe Rogan podcast first like premier
Was the
sponsor,
fleshlight?
flashlight, like
Yeah. It's pretty wild. You know what I was thinking? If we ever were
absolutely.
to do a sponsor, it should be like a dog toy manufacturer, because then you could like have them send you dog toys for Mithra and Petra, and you could highlight that on the show. Like
That's a great
BarkBox, get at
idea.
us, you know, like I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe a more
So
local
you're
mom and
saying
pop.
that we should start having ads. But it
I'm
should
saying
be
if
ads that benefit us. Like we should bring on what's that box that the women like? Uh Todd.
the murder mystery one.
No, there's like the beauty supplies box that like
Oh, okay.
Marlo and Mara always loved.
Right. Those
Yeah, okay.
influencers like those things so bad.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying if we were ever to have some sponsors like that, it should be sponsors that
Things that
are
we actually like, and we can
right.
come in here and talk about it.
And
Yeah, for
actually, I
sure.
think our
This
audience
is
would.
not Alan. Listeners, you might think that we're real sly and savvy, and we had a conversation on that. It's the
No,
first time it's ever been said to me.
yeah, I
I
just
am repulsed by what you're saying. I think it's funny,
yeah.
but no, that nothing could be further from what I want us to do with our podcast.
I'm totally I'm agreement with you. I'm just
Natasha gets
saying
so mad at me. She's like, just have fucking ads. Like, she's like,
I'm
because
just
she
saying
has such
if
a great voice. I'm like, you should do a podcast. She's like, well, if I do a podcast, it's gonna have ads. I'm like, ugh.
so I hate listening to podcasts where hosts read ads that are obviously disingenuous. And so if we were to do anything like that, I would want it to be something we actually use and appreciate. Is all
Here's
I'm
the
saying.
deal.
Here's the deal, Wade.
I have a specific reason that would explain my almost like dogmatic of repulsion, not dog repulsion to the ad
Well,
model.
because you feel like you might not say the things you want to say
No,
because
not say what I'm going to ask you a question, and I know your answer.
Okay.
What killed the fourth column? You know, keeping government accountable, right?
journalism, the
Journalism.
ad
What
model,
killed journalism?
the ad model.
Okay, I don't want that to
No,
be.
I understand. I understand.
No. I don't want to rely on that.
Sure. No,
Like
yeah.
even just because I hate it, fine. If it made me money, I might be able to swallow that pill. I don't ever want to count on that and be like, let's build this whole thing. I'll quit our job. Let's do it. And then be like, oh, turns out we can't sell fucking dog toys anymore. Like I have to, I have to go be poor. Like, no, like I would
Yeah.
rather have a job, do this as a passion with you, make friends with these people that are like, yeah, I'll throw
yeah.
some scraps your way. Like, I'll join your Patreon, give us something worthwhile, make a shirt every once in a while, I'll throw you one of those once a year if you join at the culture warrior level. You get me.
I get you. I absolutely get you, and I'm in agreement.
All right. That is we are far afield from the important thing, which is the future was discovered. It sounds like you're telling me that they can use life to create things around us, and we'll be forced to respect that life. Hopefully, I mean, I'm in fantasy land probably, but like we actually that could be a different level of civilization and humanity.
There are a lot of groundbreaking technologies coming online right now. CRISPR is one of them we've talked
Don't
about.
kill each other with nukes or a climate catastrophe.
Yeah, that's the Fermi thing. Like if it's the needle is
Really
too
unfortunate. It all
hard to
comes
thread.
in right as you do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like everybody always says, like, if you look at these civilizations right at their peak, what brings them down? It's trans people. It's like, I don't think so. I think
No,
they
it's
get to
not.
their peak and they're like, we could start fucking trans people. And then they're like, coincidentally, our society's collapsing, but you're missing the point. Like,
That's not, yeah, that's not the reason. All right.
I would amend that so that people wouldn't think that that's my sexual preference, but I wouldn't want to be, you know, this is like people being like, I don't want to sound anti-Zionist or what is it?
Anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic, yeah.
All right, moving on. A couple other headlines here from the Atlantic. The worst.
Did you read
best-
this? This was made free by the Atlantic because somebody had so much money. They said, let everyone read this article. That's how that works.
Really? No, I couldn't
Yeah.
read it. It's still paywalled to me.
Couldn't read it. Oh, it was off the paywall for a little bit. Okay, never mind then.
So I only read a little bit of it. Essentially, what they're saying is things we've reported on previously, which is that while on paper a lot of things statistically look good in the economy, people are still feeling negative
I
about.
literally heard that as the other way around, though.
Oh,
They were
really?
like, this is the worst bad economy. Something like that was the headline, right?
It
Like
is
it's
the worst best economy ever.
yeah, and they said it the other way around. Everybody sees this as bad, 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 but these things are good, and it just comes down to who tells you the news.
Well, so the subheadline is why Biden is getting no credit for the boom.
Well, I
So
guess they got it in there.
I think that's so. What I'm saying is, so if you look at it on paper, it feels like we are in a positive economy. But if you poll people,
Because it costs more to live. Like that's an explanation of inflation and why you should be cautious before you print fucking money.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that in 2021, and Alan was like, transitive
Transitory.
inflation. Yeah.
All right, a couple more headlines I added in here for funsies. Guess what? Alito had an
God damn it, wrong. Like,
Alito had an.
guess what? You can't say guess what to me or the listeners.
You know what's funny?
Elderly abuse. Did you do that on purpose? Did you
I
know
did.
that was?
I
God
did.
damn it! It's not fair. I have buttons.
See, you have a soundboard. I just know what to say to. Okay.
Your
So-
viewers are seeing me.
So Alito's vacation house in New Jersey displayed in
Wait, his vacation house. Is this where he goes and has bribery vacations with
with Thomas.
yeah. I have that as a JAQ just in my pocket. Like, do you think they ever go on bribery vacations? He has a vacation house?
Yes,
Of course
he has a beach house, and they displayed an Appeal to Heaven flag, a symbol carried on Jan 6 and associated with a push for a more Christian-minded government. So the
You
hits
know
just
what? I don't hate him for this. I think we're nitpicking. I think stick to the first one. That first one was bad enough. Like the guy can have his religious convictions. That's part of what we are.
but as a Supreme Court justice to display a flag which purports to
that
bring
someone else can have a different opinion about and think that it
No.
means something else.
no, essentially the movement behind this flag wants to see
Oh, this is not the flag
Christianity.
I was thinking of. I have not seen this flag very often.
Christianity as a part of government,
I
and
thought this was going to be the white flag with the blue cross on it.
it's the white flag with the
A
pine
green-
tree.
It looks like Lebanon. It's got a little pine tree in
A
it.
pine tree, yeah. And so the force behind this movement is they want Christianity to be part of government, and that's a huge
Okay, that's a problem. I don't think a judge
That's-
should be where. So the
Yeah.
judge had that. Maybe it was an Airbnb. Maybe it was somebody. Who was
no,
like,
that's his
"Oh,
beach
this is
house.
back." All right.
Uh,
I ran out of excuses. I steel man that.
I don't know. So even if you like, and by the way, he didn't have any excuse for
Did
this.
you call
one.
this headline another flag
Yes,
because of this motherfucker from last week?
yes.
Nobody's talking about this. You can hear by my reaction. I tried to like.
Yeah.
This is how I take news. I go, hold on, is it this? Okay, all right, fuck this guy then. Like, yeah, wow, man.
Yeah, and he hasn't said that his wife put this one up,
Oh, wow.
so no response. There wasn't apparently any altercation with neighbors that led to this one. It's just, I don't know. It's just egregious. All right, next one.
Ethics.
The next one I have here I called loose cannons. This is from the New York Times as well. Sparring in Trump's documents hearing highlights cases slow pace.
Did this happen today? There was supposed to be a
Yes.
decision. Okay.
It happened today.
Okay.
And so this is Cannon's court. So one of the
Miami,
lawyers,
former lifestyle columnist, judge for like 6 weeks before she became
right?
okay.
So one of the lawyers for Walt Nada is now claiming. By the way, he
Walt
didn't.
not as Trump's lawyer.
No, Walt Nada was the guy who was Trump's like Trump's body man or something
Co-indicted or
like that.
whatever that word
Yeah, yeah,
is.
at Mar-a-Lago.
Co-defendant.
I think he was like the head of security or something for him in
Okay.
Mar-a-Lago. So Nada's lawyer
deleted those tapes, or no, the pool man deleted those tapes.
Pullman,
Yeah.
he just told him to.
The room got flooded, actually, Alan. The
Right.
server rooms below the pool. It happens all the time.
There's a pump problem. These things happen. You're a mechanic. You understand this.
Yeah, we always put our servers below pool level.
Keeps them cooler.
It's colder in the basement.
So one of Nada's lawyers, but he never said anything at the time, but he is now saying that in a meeting with prosecution lawyers early on in the case, that one of the prosecution lawyers said, I note that you are trying to get on or trying to be a justice in whatever county or state
To
it was.
Cannon?
No, the
To
lawyer
Nada.
for Nada was attempting to be a judge in.
Okay. The
Okay.
Nada's lawyer was
Wanted-
attempting to be a judge, and
Right.
Nada said that to him.
No, so
Start over.
okay. The prosecution lawyer had a meeting with Nada's lawyers. The prosecution and Nada, so defense met, right? And in that meeting, one of Nada's lawyers claims that the prosecuting lawyer said, "Hey, I noticed that you want to be a judge. I'd hate to see anything, stop that from happening." Essentially saying that if Nada would cooperate with the state,
It's weird that he thinks that people talk like that when that's how everyone in Trump's
Right.
talk. Like, I'm sorry, I tried not to interrupt you so long.
So
trying to hold out for
I
one
saw
more
it. I saw
more,
it.
and
I
just
saw it.
lasted 5 seconds.
So essentially saying that, if you get your client to flip, we're not going to make any trouble for you. Now,
Do you believe that happened?
no, I don't. And
And
so,
is it because that sounds like something they would say?
and also he didn't bring it up until 10 months after that meeting. He
And
never
it's
said-
only 10 months after that meeting because they didn't have this meeting when they say we're going to have it 10 months ago, and they had it now. They were going to have this meeting 10 months ago.
So
and then
there
after
was-
we waited 10 months, his best argument was, well, what about this one thing I heard you say
Right,
once
right.
off the record?
Yes.
Well, this
And
guy said this to me.
there
And I
was
heard
this-
he's gay.
Lighthearted, fancy-free.
So there was this huge heated exchange between the prosecuting lawyer and Cannon.
Really?
Yeah, and Cannon
Cannon.
was like,
Wait, Cannon, I'm shocked. This unprofessional lawyer lost her cool.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And so just
Exactly, sir.
this is just further bullshit happening in that courtroom. Nothing's moving forward. They can't even agree on stupid, simple shit. There's still no court date set. It certainly won't be before November. But yeah, that's just become an absolute
What a joke.
dumpster
So
fire.
today was a date to look in on and see if anything happened.
Yep.
And not only did nothing move forward, but they argued about stupid shit.
Yes.
You know what it is? She's such a bad judge. They just jingle the keys in front of her. That's all that keeps happening. They're like, what's this?
Yeah, that's actually, shiny. Yeah, check this out. Yeah.
Lifestyle reporter for like a Hispanic magazine in South Florida.
Right.
And then she became a judge.
All right, should we move into media diet?
You know what you've been watching? I see you've been watching that Bodkin. What'd you think of it?
I liked it.
I like Will Forte. I don't know if I said that before, but Will Forte was the main character.
Yeah, and he does a very good job of sort of becoming the stereotypical podcaster, I would say.
At times, I didn't feel offended. Like I
Right.
give him credit for that because most depictions of people of our ilk
Right.
are appropriately mimetically
Right.
represented.
Right.
But he actually did a good job at times of
He did.
Yeah.
And I like
I have that
I-
exact same pocket recorder he had.
that's funny. I like
Also,
the
very ending was stupid. That was
It was.
unnecessary. That was,
was.
fucking and like I know you felt it. You were like, don't do that.
yeah. I did like the Irish hardline reporter lady. I thought she was good.
Yep.
She was a lot of fun. The story takes some unexpected twists and turns. I will say, I don't know if this is stereotypical, but the Seamus character looks to me almost exactly like the lead singer from Flogging Molly. So I don't
Hmm,
just with the beard, the red
that's
beard, and
funny.
all that.
I watched
Um,
something else that I've talked about here on the show that had an Irish character in it. Oh, he looked like the Irish guy in The Gentleman too. I don't know that he's not the same guy.
oh,
Yeah.
I haven't
Gentleman the series, not Gentleman
on
the movie.
Netflix. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. I think I started and I got bored.
It's fine.
Um, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, it's fine if you can kinda only have so much Guy Ritchie style in a row, you
sure.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say Botkin, pretty good. I mean, it's not like the best thing ever, but it's pretty
Yeah,
entertaining.
3.5,
And
4.
it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, like we always say,
Yeah, if you like true crime and
yeah,
you like listening to true crime stories, I said this before. If
yes,
you like listening to true crime stories, it's like watching a true crime s series that you would listen to,
yeah,
but watching somebody go through the
do
act
the
of
actual stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
I
in
will say that
a dramatic style and comedic
yeah,
dramatic.
I will say that without spoiling anything, so there is like a tension happening at home for the Irish reporter and that she's dealing with throughout the series and sort of opens with it a little bit, but they never really,
It just bugged me right
yeah,
now. That never got resolved
they
because
never really resolved it.
the tension with Will Forte's character got resolved. It
Right,
was unfortunate, but that
right.
got resolved. But hers never they ended it.
Never, yeah,
I would have rather have them end it than have the last scene that they had. Because the thing that I didn't like about the last scene had nothing to do with how like the story got wrapped up.
right, yeah.
It was just a decision made at the very end where you're like, well, I would never do that. And but they could have not done that and showed her
Some
story.
sort of, yeah,
Yeah, what the fuck,
resolution
man?
to that story. Yeah, I
There's a
was,
big question about the rest of her life there.
yeah, and it
And, like,
opens,
I mean, is she gonna
literally opens with that, like the first episode.
and, like, I don't know, we talked about a very famous, I called him a journalist on the last show. Like, is her life gonna turn out like his or not? That seems like a
Right,
bigger question about what happened in this bumfuck town in Ireland.
right. It's,
God,
yeah,
I hate it now. 3.5.
okay.
It was good though.
It was good.
Three and
It
a half.
was,
3.5's watchable. You
yeah,
know,
it's a fun
it
ride.
was above watchable, but I think it's fair. What you watched Arcadian?
Arcadian starring Nicolas Cage.
What?
This,
Where's this on? Is it 10 give you
you have to buy it like $6 or whatever on Prime or whatever. It's not free yet.
or have the Tem delivery?
Right, exactly.
No,
So this is about a
about.
dys a dystopic future. It feels like there's a lot of dystopic stuff happening right now.
So weird that's appealing to us. And then the
Although
Obamas direct one of or produce one of them, and they're like, "See, they're telling us it's the end of the world." It's like Hunger Games was 15 years ago.
I
Like
was gonna say, every time I think, oh well, maybe there's something in our culture underlying that's creating this desire to
the end
see
is
all this,
always near. It's the name of
just
a book,
yeah.
right?
I mean, but then you think about like Clockwork Orange and like
Sure.
dystopic fiction has been around forever and people have always
Sure.
been attracted to it for whatever
Yeah.
reason. I mean, 1984 was written in the 50s, right?
Yeah,
So
except that this is real.
this is real. Yeah. Okay. So Arcadian, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's it's essentially kind of a horror movie. It's in a post-apocalyptic era, and there's monsters.
Oh,
And at
no
first I
dragons?
thought,
Are there dragons?
no, there's no dragons.
Okay,
At
good.
first I thought it was gonna be one of those like M. Night Shyamalan, where he kind of holds you in suspense and really doesn't show you the monster too much. At least
Yeah.
maybe there's a big reveal finally. But no, the monsters play pretty significantly. You see
Huh.
them a lot. Um, I liked it. Definitely, I'm not like a huge horror fan, even though
Yeah, me either.
I like stuff like Last Man Standing and stuff, but I'm not like a huge horror person.
The
Um,
Bruce Willis movie?
no, not I meant
Oh,
Last
The
of Us.
Last of Us.
I meant Last of Us. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce. um,
Weird.
but I did enjoy the movie. It was good.
Sharon Stone in Last Man Standing? I'm gonna look that up.
I think she is.
Go ahead.
Last Man Standing is great. It's like he switches from whiskey to beer. He's like, that's pretty good for me.
I like that you knew that.
Yes, I love that movie. Anyway, so I would say even if you're not a horror fan, there are definitely some intense scenes.
Okay.
But
I don't
it's
think I'm
worth
gonna watch
watching.
this. Where's this available?
You can rent it like for Prime
Oh,
or
yeah, you said that.
or
Okay.
YouTube, things like
Now
that.
when you tell me it's a, Nicolas Cage movie, it doesn't
Mhm.
sound like yeah, for every, the unbearable weight of being or whatever it was, it's fun like that.
Yeah.
He has a lot of, like, subpar Bangkok Dangerously's.
Yeah, no, I think this is pretty. And actually, I can say a little bit more about the plot without spoiling things. So it is about a father and two sons trying to survive in this world, essentially. And the father being Nicolas Cage, is trying to teach his boys like how to navigate this new environment, this new reality.
Right.
And so I think there is a lot of that is enjoyable to watch. And that's sort of mixed in with the horror stuff as well. But
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's like the greatest movie ever, but I'd give it a,
Yeah.
it's a
Should I wait
solid
till
three.
it's free?
Probably.
I mean, I don't think you paid for this, right?
I did not. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, probably wait. I'm sure it'll show up on
Oh,
Max
that's
or
you
if
to
it's somewhere.
advertise your crimes. Leslie Mann, not Sharon Stone.
Okay.
She's she's the Andy Garcia to Al Pacino of
Right.
Sharon Stone's.
She's got a great ass. You got your head all the way
That's
up.
not what I mean. That's not what I mean.
Oh.
Andy Garcia is a poor man's Pacino, and Leslie
Oh,
Mann
I
is
understand.
a poor man's Sharon Stone.
Gotcha. Oh,
Alan's gone. Camera's off the table.
I knocked my camera over.
I saw that you did. Nice tattoo. There's
Thanks.
your arm.
Okay, I'm
There's
back.
the microphone. Hey, there's half of Alan. That works. I watched. I finished Bodkin, but we already talked
Yeah,
about
we
that.
talked about that.
And I've been watching Dave, and then I've been on call. So season 3 of Dave is very good. Dave, I'm not going to say it like requires like, hey, you better sit down and watch Dave, but like it has like an emotional message and weight to it.
Mhm.
And it feels, so it's a comedy, but it's about white rapper Dave. What is it? Little Dicky.
Okay.
But the characters are so good in it. Have you watched any of Dave?
No.
Oh, dude, watch season 1 of Dave.
Where is it?
Hulu.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, watch season 1 of Dave and take a break. Come back, watch season 2 of Dave. It takes you through an arc, man. It's gonna take you coming back on here and telling me that I was right and saying it better than me. And then so season 3 of Dave, it's been out for a while. We've been waiting to watch it for the reasons I just described. And we watch about 2 episodes a night when we can, but I've been on call. So I'll probably watch a couple episodes of Dave tonight while I'm editing, posting the show. I like it. I highly recommend it. I bet they'll do one more season. It doesn't feel like they're ending it, but I don't know how much you can draw out of this guy whose rap career probably already peaked and ended. Like,
yeah, I think
so.
so.
Like at this point, he's more famous for being Dave, but I don't know that.
Right.
Shall we move into a game, sir?
Yeah. So are we both playing a game, or are we gonna?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Will rock scissors paper for it?
I'll just play. I'll play. So
I'll
you're
give
the
you
host.
the game. Can you do me a favor then? I have
Yes.
not looked. You highlight with a gray, and you need to highlight with a black.
I did that on purpose so you would know that it wasn't yours.
Oh, okay. Well done.
But I can change it.
It's too tempting for me. I am going to peel back the wrapping paper if you let me.
Okay. All right. I changed it to black.
All right. I have 3 games. I have so Thrash sent in a game.
Yes.
And at one point he did have a clever name for what it's called.
Mhm.
And I already forgot that. So
Okay.
it's gonna be things that things that somebody said.
Okay.
This is real quote or fake quote. Dictator or Schmick Schmader. I don't know. Kind of on the spot here.
Okay. All right. So
Hater or Nader.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to just there's 2 real quotes and 1 non-real quote, I'm assuming. And I have to pick the
And if they aren't quotes, they are actions. I also haven't read these.
Okay. All right.
All right.
From 1844 to 1848, and again from 1851 until his death in 1885 or 65, Guatemala was ruled by an illiterate, extremely Catholic pig farmer dictator named Rafael Carrera.
Dude, it's Guatemala. Like,
I think that's probably true.
that feels true.
Uh,
Rafael Carrera.
yes. Idi Amin, president for life of
Dude,
Uganda.
I always said if I could pick my Muslim name, it would be Petey Amin. I assume you get to pick it, right?
I mean,
That'd be pretty funny.
Ali did, right?
Yeah, Petey Amin.
P.D. Pablo.
Your shirt
Idi
off.
Amin, president for life of Uganda, once had every man in the village of Bomsace, over 25, executed for spelling his name wrong on their welcome
How do you spell Edie wrong? Oh, they put an E.
Maybe. That does sound like something he would do, although
Does.
I'm not sure if he did it. Ecuadorian strongman and President Gabriel Garcia Morenos was attacked while exiting the National Palace in Quito in 1875. Moreno was shot several times and hacked at several times with a machete, to which he reportedly shouted, "Dios no muere," God does not die.
Oh.
and promptly died.
Oh, I hope that one's true. Oh man, I do not envy you on these choices. So
Yeah,
did
these
a
are
pig farmer be the dictator of Guatemala twice in his lifetime with a 3-year hiatus in between?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. Did Idi Amin kill everybody above 25 for spelling his name wrong?
I definitely wouldn't put it past him, but I'm uncertain. And so the last one, Ecuadorian strongman and president. Ecuadorian.
The irony of that.
So they
God
would
does not die. Dios no muerte. No,
right. The Spanish
no
would have.
muere.
I'm gonna say that the Ecuadorian one is not true. Was I wrong?
Yeah, I led you right into it. The Idi Amin one was fake.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah. You
Okay.
were. No, you wouldn't have heard
No,
that.
I wouldn't know
The
that.
Americans like they didn't kill all those Tutsis or what was it? No. Was that what was the Rwandan genocide?
Yeah, the Hutus and the Tutsis.
Tutsis, yeah.
Tutsis, yeah.
Yeah. I remember learning that and being like, I don't believe you. And they're like, this happened. Like this
Yeah.
legit happened. I was like, I would have heard about that. Like
No, it was yeah. It was
and then they
huge
made a
deal.
movie and
The hotel movie. Yeah.
and I believe the hotel movie. Yes. All right. I didn't put a question here to end the show. Can we end it with the hotel movie?
I think we can end it with the hotel movie.
I will talk to you in a matter of days, sir. It's been fun as
Absolutely. We have to play the outro though.
Oh fuck, man! It's gonna take you doing that. Stage manager, Alan.
When a guy's banging you,
Y'all let me in his damn house.
oh, how about that?
Come in the name of peace.
LMFAO.
So what in the world is this?
Is Kevin McCarthy a moron, and if so, why?
Why would you say something that stupid?
I come without explanations or solutions.
I'm a very sexy lady.
Cat turd.
I will not suffer this harlot.
How great! An anti-American Marxist.
Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
Read the news.
China is asshole.
God bless the United States.
Podcasting.